Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new StarCraft II video. Now today we're gonna take a look at a really quick update video that actually Davey posted, I think it was yesterday, yeah, 18 hours ago. And he actually posted a new topic on the official Battle.net forums with the balance changes they are currently discussing in StarCraft II. Now, I got a few things to say about this thing, but let's get started right here. Now, the first couple of changes are really not that interesting, honestly. You remember when I first made a video explaining that they wanted to change the photon overcharge duration from 60 to 40? Well, they cut back on that a little bit, made it from 60 to 50. The time warp energy has increased a little bit, so you can't really get that done as easily, from 75 to 100 energy, and the ghost will now be built with the energy upgrade built in, which is obviously going to help TVP especially. Now, these changes are all very minor. Honestly, I don't really see them changing a whole lot, other than making Protoss a little bit weaker in the early part of the game, but I don't think these changes are going to be changing that much. However, there are a bunch of random changes actually that I completely did not expect whatsoever. So first of all, here we go. The Hydralisk cost decreased from 100 minerals and 50 gas to 100 minerals and 25 gas. We're most concerned about PvC with this change, since Hydralisks are only really used as a core unit in this matchup. We'd love to see how the testing goes for this change on the next balanced test map. We don't think this would be very problematic for either side in TvZ right now. It's very Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk focus for Zerg, whereas the Terran players are exploring mech play, blah 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 blah. In ZvZ we're seeing a lot more roach focus strategies. Okay, so here we go. They're basically saying Hydralisks are only used in PvZ and, and not really in TvZ and ZvZ. Well, this is true. The thing is, I don't think Hydralisks are in a bad position at all. I think Hydralisks are absolutely amazing versus Protoss. Now, the scary strategy that most Protoss players are really dealing with nowadays is Hydralisk Zergling or Roach Hydra Zergling into Mutalisk. I think that is the strong strategy that most Protoss players are really dealing with right now, and that actually most Protoss players die to. Now, what is this change gonna do? Well, it is basically gonna allow the Zerg player to make the initial switch to Mutalisk twice as strong. So whereas right now you could see like maybe some gas saved up and go for like 8 Mutalisk, well, it will be much easier to get around 15 or 16 Mutalisk out, just because the Hydralisks that you need to create are still not gonna change. Like, the amount of Hydras is not gonna change, but the amount of gas that you will save up while doing so will obviously be doubled. Now, this is actually a gigantic change, and I don't really see where it's coming from. Now, obviously, considering I'm a Zerg player, this is going to be in my favor, but I think this is going to be way too strong. And honestly, I don't really get where it's coming from. Like, they're saying we're most concerned about PvC with this change since Hydralisks are only a really core unit, but why are they changing it? There's really no, like, they don't ever say why they're actually changing it. Now, other than that, I think this change is far too big, even though, obviously, I'm a Zerg player, but it is going to be very interesting how that is going to play out. Now, I got another change right here, late game PvC. Additionally, on the Zerg front, we're seeing a bit more in the way of a super long and dragged out PvC games in Europe. We've been discussing this internally, and we believe the main issue comes from using the Swarm Host. Well, obviously, like, the Swarm Host has been this unit that actually allows you to sit back and just get a huge economy up and eventually switch into something else while you have enormous amounts of gas, but definitely the Swarm Host is being the issue right now. So the change that we're thinking about right now is a passive Tempest ability that allows them to deal 2 to 3 times more damage versus structures. Now, where is this coming from? Well, it basically means that it will be a lot harder for a Zerg player to turtle up with buildings, such as like Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers. Now, I don't really understand where this change is coming from either. I think this is a really interesting change to address passive Zerg play in ZVP. I think what would make a lot more sense is actually addressing the Swarm Host directly and making it a lot more interesting unit. Right now, it is one of the most boring units in the game, and honestly, I personally have stopped using it pretty much completely. I think it is one of these units that either should not have been in the game in the first place, or should be adjusted accordingly, making the game a lot more exciting. But right now, I don't think this is going to be helping PvC at all. If they want to implement this change, however, maybe they should go with the Hydralisk buff while nerfing the Swarm Host, so you will actually see a lot less Swarm Host play in PvZ, forcing the Zerg player to play a lot more aggressively. Right now, I think the long drawn out games in ZVP are extremely boring to watch and extremely boring to play, but I understand the programmers are doing it just because it's either, the most solid playstyle around, or just the playstyle that has the most win rate percentage on a certain map. So to change it, I would either buff another Zerg unit, maybe something like the Infestor, and make it a lot more strong against Protoss, while instantly also nerfing the Swarmhouse, because I think the Swarmhouse are an absolutely enormously boring unit, and I don't think really they should be changing it in this way. Just, you know, giving the Tempest a passive ability to make them 2 to 3 times more damage versus structures is not gonna change late game PvZ at all. It will just force the Zerg player to make a few more Corruptors, and honestly, I don't really see this changing at all. So these are the balance changes that are currently proposed for StarCraft II. I'm very curious what you think about these changes, so please let me know in the comment section below, right below that like button. And yeah, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a new video. Now, there's been a bunch of people lately that have been asking what my most anticipated games are for 2014. Obviously,